After Wong Lin unleashed the dark red strand of slaughter energy toward Qiong, the destructive energy shot straight toward one of Qiong's 18 heads, striking it with immense force. The Qiong paused from the impact, while Wong Lin immediately retreated into the vortex. Before disappearing, he looked back and saw black blood flowing from the middle-aged man's eyes. But the head was otherwise unharmed. The Qiong trembled, and all 18 heads raised their heads and roared with even greater power. Its anger destabilized the vortex, and it instantly rushed into it after Wong Lin. The first trial of the land of the ancient god was divided into metal, wood, fire, and earth trials. Wong Lin had previously entered the earth trial and risked his life to kill Hunchback Meng. But this time he entered the metal trial. When he emerged from the vortex, he found himself in an enormous sword graveyard filled with countless broken swords. The swords covered the boundless land, and each carried a lonely, sorrowful aura. Wong Lin had no time to observe the surroundings and immediately fled while activating thunder around his body through his right eye. He pointed behind him, sending the thunder toward the approaching Qiong. The angry Qiong emerged from the twisted sky and collided with the thunder. But the thunder slowed it down as though it were undergoing heavenly tribulation. Wong Lin continuously formed seals, summoning thunder from the void to strike the Qiong while fleeing. The Qiong roared and chanted through its 18 heads while casting countless spells at him. A black cloud transformed into a black tongue and attacked Wong Lin. But he used Call the Wind to create 4 black dragons that collided with it. He then summoned more thunder and flames. One blue-haired head released water that spread across the sky like an ocean, while another childlike head released an extremely cold energy that froze the entire ocean into a glacier, trapping the thunder and flames inside the ice. The cold energy also began freezing the space around Wong Lin. Wong Lin remained calm and activated the vermilion bird armor. The white vermilion bird cried out as he charged through the forming ice, causing it to melt before touching him. After breaking free, Wong Lin directed endless thunder toward the sword graveyard instead of the Qiong. The broken swords conducted the thunder, and within moments all the swords within 10,000 feet were covered in thunder. When the Qiong approached within 1,000 feet, Wong Lin raised his hand and used the thunder to pull the swords from the ground, sending them toward the Qiong like a rain of swords. Wong Lin understood that his current cultivation was insufficient to kill the Qiong directly. If not for his speed, it would already have caught and devoured him. Although this was only his avatar and its destruction would not greatly affect his original body. He had entered the trial to observe Tuosen's strength and was unwilling to die here. While retreating, Wong Lin continuously released thunder into the ground, causing more and more swords to rise. As he moved faster, almost all the swords within 5,000 kilometers were lifted into the air. Thunder surrounded the countless swords, forming a dense net that covered the sky. The sound of the flying swords became so overwhelming that it suppressed even the Qiong's roars. The rust on the swords was shaken away by the thunder, revealing countless gleaming blades that shot toward the Qiong from every direction with sword energy and thunder. The Qiong's 18 heads chanted and formed seals, producing countless black runes that gathered into a protective light screen around its body. The rain of swords crashed into the shield repeatedly, each sword carrying immense thunderous power and an unyielding force. The swords shattered one after another, but more swords continued penetrating the dust and striking the shield. After dozens of breaths, the light screen began trembling and flashing with black light, showing signs of collapse. While the number of swords rapidly decreased, Wong Lin immediately extended the range of his thunder and summoned another wave of swords. Just as the first wave collapsed, the second wave filled the sky and descended upon the Qiong. At that moment, a roar came from inside the light screen, which became transparent and revealed golden fire. The middle-aged man's head was spitting out vast amounts of golden flames. The flames swept across the sky, and their heat was powerful enough to melt the flying swords. Instead of being shocked, Wong Lin recognized this as an opportunity. Fire appeared in his left eye and surrounded his body as he used the 9 mysterious spell. Fire escape. Because there were flames everywhere, Wong Lin could travel through them without restriction. He transformed into flames and disappeared, reappearing within 30 feet of the Qiong inside the golden fire. Despite the unbearable heat, he endured it and continued forward, appearing 10 feet above the middle-aged man's head. Killing intent filled Wong Lin's eyes as he raised his right hand and summoned an iron sword covered in rust. The moment the iron sword appeared, all the flying swords in the metal trial trembled. Wong Lin poured his origin energy into the iron sword, transforming it into an astonishing, heaven-shaking sword strike. The sword descended, blood sprayed out, and a bloody line appeared across one of the Qiong's 18 necks. The middle-aged man's head showed disbelief before falling down. Wong Lin immediately withdrew his sword, used fire escape to seize the head, and appeared 10,000 feet away. He then quickly fled without looking back. Wong Lin was shocked after successfully cutting off one of the Qiong's heads. He had originally intended only to injure it so that the second wave of flying swords could attack. Never expecting his strike to sever a head. With no time to think, he grabbed the strange middle-aged man's head and tried to escape. At that moment, green flames erupted from the sky, containing a fragment that looked like a shattered piece of porcelain and carried the power of the heavens. Wong Lin immediately grabbed the fragment and continued forward. The branch where the head had been severed quickly shrank and disappeared into green gas, leaving the Qiong with 17 heads. The beast trembled violently and released a heaven-shaking roar that suppressed the thunder, caused the realm to overturn, and made the incoming flying swords tremble. It then charged toward Wong Lin at terrifying speed, while its 17 heads simultaneously cast spells and attempted to devour him. A storm appeared as green mist condensed into a gigantic head before the Qiong. The head had a human face covered in scales, a ruthless gaze, and a height of at least 10,000 feet. A handprint resembling a seal appeared between its eyebrows and released endless purple gas. As the giant head opened its mouth to devour Wong Lin, countless strands of purple gas formed another enormous handprint in the sky, which descended toward the Qiong. Although the beast clearly feared the handprint, it continued resisting and summoned the giant head anyway. Wong Lin realized that something was wrong. The Qiong was extremely powerful, yet its strength did not match the Qiong he had seen in Tuosen's memories. Although Tuosen's Qiong had 36 heads and this one already had 18. Wong Lin had previously suspected that this beast was not displaying its true strength. The moment the giant head appeared, Wong Lin's cultivation seemed to freeze completely. A terrifying suction force pulled him toward its mouth, and even the flying swords from the second wave were dragged toward it. The power was so great that even the world itself began trembling and tearing apart as if it were about to be devoured. Wong Lin remembered the ancient saying that there had once been a spirit named Ji that gained one head every time it devoured a world. In desperation, he struggled to raise his right hand to the spot between his eyebrows. His arm gradually turned to stone and then exploded, but the explosion loosened the suppression on his cultivation. Wong Lin immediately opened his storage space, placed the newly obtained fragment and the iron sword inside, and took out a beast skin that he placed beside the yellow speed withering tattoo on his chest. The beast skin had been created by Tuosen using the inheritance of the tattoo clan's holy ancestor. With 2 speed withering tattoos, Wong Lin's speed increased to an unimaginable level, allowing him to struggle against the suction. Wong Lin gritted his teeth and desperately charged away, feeling as if he were smashing through enormous mountains. He managed to move about 100 feet before his left leg turned into stone and shattered into pebbles, which were immediately sucked into the giant mouth. The Qiong continued roaring as its 17 heads fiercely resisted the approaching handprint. The giant hand emitted a brilliant green light, causing the suction force to become even stronger. Wong Lin's right foot then collapsed, leaving him unable to advance any further. He was pulled back toward the giant mouth. With a bitter smile, he used his remaining strength to remove the 2 items from his chest and put them back into his storage space. His vision blurred, and he was swallowed by the giant head together with the countless flying swords. The giant head then transformed into green light and returned to the Qiong's body. The enormous handprint stopped 10 feet above the beast. The 17 heads looked upward with a trace of dread but continued roaring. The handprint suddenly shone brightly, enveloping the Qiong and making its body transparent. If Wong Lin had still been present, he would have seen that 9 of the 17 heads contained porcelain fragments. The purple light and the handprint gradually disappeared as if they had never existed. The Qiong's caution faded, and flesh near its neck began moving. A new 10-foot-long branch grew out, with a head at its end. That head looked exactly like Wong Lin. Inside the mountain on the moon outside planet Suzaku, Wong Lin suddenly opened his eyes while inside the celestial formation. His eyes were filled with terror as he realized that his avatar had been killed by the Qiong before it could even see Tuosen. Senator Wang Lin concluded that although the beast had been strong enough for him to cut off one of its heads, it had clearly not used its full strength, likely because it feared triggering the seal. He recalled the terrifying purple handprint and the giant head it had summoned. Even with 2 speed-withering tattoos, his speed had been comparable to that of a late-stage Nirvana Shatterer cultivator. Yet he had been completely helpless against the suction force. Wong Lin suspected that the Qiong was sealed and that using its true power would activate the seal. He silently reflected on his current cultivation and realized that he was still insignificant in this world and needed to remain cautious. His experiences in the demon spirit land, his battles against Master Void and the All-Seer, his fight against the ancient devil, his becoming the Vermilion Bird Divine Emperor, his rescue of the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor, and his awakening of Celestial Emperor Qing Lin had caused his cultivation and confidence to rise steadily. After becoming the Vermilion Bird Divine Emperor, he had even gathered various forces to battle Tuosen. His repeated battles against Nirvana Shatterer cultivators had gradually created a sense of complacency, making him feel that everything was under his control. If he had remained as cautious as before, he would have fled from the Qiong instead of attempting to injure it. And his avatar would not have died. The death of the avatar dealt a merciless blow to Wong Lin's mind and completely destroyed the last trace of complacency within him. The sensation of death had been extremely real, allowing him to experience death for the second time. After silently pondering, Wong Lin's gaze became serious and cautious. He formed a seal and pointed between his eyebrows, splitting off another portion of his origin soul to create a second avatar from the surrounding rocks. The avatar then disappeared from the mountain. Wong Lin knew that Qing Lin's celestial spell consumed too much celestial origin energy, and creating too many avatars would affect his origin soul, so this second avatar was already his limit. Wong Lin then focused his attention on the new avatar and used spatial bending to return to planet Suzaku. Without hesitation, he traveled toward the land of the ancient god. After taking a deep breath at its entrance, he stepped inside and moved through the abyss with the same caution he had possessed during his core formation stage. He soon reached the vortex leading to the first trial. Wong Lin took out a flying sword, placed a trace of his divine sense inside it, and sent it into the vortex. The moment the sword entered, he detected a sandstorm. On the 5th day, Wong Lin entered the final trial of the land of the ancient god, the Void. The moment he entered, he immediately sensed powerful fluctuations from spells and the sounds of treasures colliding. Because of this, he instinctively retreated. In the Void, a large number of cultivators had gathered, and dozens of them were fighting an ancient qi refiner wearing red robes. The old man looked extremely old, yet he did not need to form seals to cast spells. With simple waves of his hands, he could produce strange techniques Wong Lin had never seen before. Every one of these spells contained a distinct aura of time. When Wong Lin saw him, his eyes narrowed because he vaguely remembered this person as one of the ancient qi refiners from Tuosen's Sea of Blood. The old man possessed strength comparable to a late-stage Nirvana cleanser cultivator. The cultivators surrounding the ancient qi refiner were carrying coffins. The coffins had all been opened, and corpse puppets had become the main force attacking the old man. Despite fighting alone, the ancient cultivator fought extremely fiercely, and more than 10 corpses were already floating around the battlefield. 7 or 8 other cultivators from the Corpsect stood nearby. A black-clothed youth was leading them and constantly watched the red-robed old man. Whenever he pointed his finger, the corpse puppets would immediately change their formations and adjust their attacks. The appearance of Wong Lin attracted the attention of both sides. When the red-robed old man saw him, his eyes suddenly shone with bright red light. The Corpsect cultivators also noticed Wong Lin, but they did not recognize his identity. The black-clothed youth coldly looked at him and waved his hand, sending 2 Corpsect disciples toward Wong Lin. One of them clasped his hands and politely told Wong Lin that the Corpsect had been the first to fight this ancient qi refiner and asked him to go somewhere else. Although the words sounded courteous, the disciples' gaze was hostile, and the surrounding Corpsect cultivators showed the same cold attitude. Wong Lin remained calm, nodded, and flew around the battlefield. Once the Corpsect saw him leave, they stopped paying attention to him. The black-clothed youth did not even look at Wong Lin again and continued staring at the ancient cultivator. His eyes filled with greed. He was determined to obtain both the body and origin soul of the ancient cultivator. Wong Lin continued traveling through the void and discovered an enormous number of cultivators. Most of them were gathered in groups of 3 to 5, while some traveled alone as though searching for something. Wong Lin also encountered several other ancient cultivators from Tuosen's Blood Sea. Each of them was surrounded by large numbers of cultivators. Whenever Wang Lin approached, the surrounding cultivators would stop him just as the Corpsect had done. Their words were polite on the surface, but their meaning was clear. If Wang Lin took another step forward, a conflict would immediately occur. Wang Lin remained expressionless, though disdain appeared in his eyes, and each time he simply chose to leave. He understood that the temptation presented by the ancient qi refiners was enough to make some cultivators completely consumed by greed. Their ancient cultivation methods and spells were valuable, but obtaining them required paying a price. Although the cultivation levels of the ancient qi refiners differed, every one of them possessed powerful techniques. Often, a single ancient cultivator was strong enough to kill several cultivators who surrounded and attacked him. However, all the ancient cultivators Wang Lin had encountered so far were among the weaker ones from Tuosen's Blood Sea. He still had not seen any of the truly powerful ancient cultivators. Wang Lin wondered where Master Flamespark and the powerful Corpsect cultivators had gone. He spread out his divine sense to search, but the void was simply too vast for him to cover completely. On the 8th day, Wang Lin suddenly stopped and looked into the distance. A blood-red light suddenly appeared in the void, accompanied by a thunderous rumble as the blood-colored ripple spread outward. The ripple had already traveled an unknown distance before finally reaching Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes lit up, and he immediately charged forward, teleporting toward the source of the fluctuation. The blood-colored shockwave contained an enormous origin energy fluctuation, proving that an extremely powerful cultivator had caused it. At the source, Master Flamespark was fighting an ancient cultivator in red. Master Flamespark's face was pale as he stared at his opponent. The old man was completely red, including his eyes, but there was no madness in his expression. Instead, he remained cold and calm. Powerful spell fluctuation spread around the two of them. After exchanging attacks, both sides retreated without saying anything. The red-robed old man then waved his sleeves, causing a sea of blood to appear. The sea of blood transformed into a huge blood dragon that roared and charged toward Master Flamespark. As soon as it appeared, the dragon suddenly produced 8 additional heads, transforming into a terrifying 9-headed blood dragon. Its roar shook the void as it rapidly closed in on Master Flamespark. Master Flamespark recognized the technique and immediately retreated, saying that the old man was using this trick again. He formed a seal and struck his forehead. A burning bead emerged from between his eyebrows. With the point of his finger, the bead transformed into a vast sea of flames that surged toward the 9-headed blood dragon. The blood and flames collided, producing repeated thunderous explosions. Taking advantage of the chaos, the red-robed old man moved like lightning, passing directly through the blood dragon and sea of flames before appearing in front of Master Flamespark. He raised his right hand and fiercely slammed it downward. Master Flamespark had already been prepared for this attack. He quickly retreated again and spat out a small fragment. The fragment rapidly expanded, revealing itself to be a fragment of the celestial realm. The red-robed old man's palm struck the fragment with a tremendous bang, and the force pushed him backward. He then stared coldly at Master Flamespark, formed another seal with his hands, and waved them. His expression suddenly became painful, while countless blood bubbles began swelling across his face. The horrifying sight caused Master Flamespark to become slightly shocked and immediately more cautious. Master Flamespark had already been fighting this ancient cultivator for an entire day. Yet neither side had been able to gain the upper hand. Seeing the strange transformation of the old man's skin, he became even more vigilant. He reached his right hand into the void, creating a crack from which a completely white fan flew out. The fan looked as though it had been carved from jade. The instant the fan appeared, all the blood bubbles covering the red-robed old man suddenly burst. His entire body became covered in blood, and he released a roar like a wild beast. His body rapidly expanded, the veins across his body bulged, and his appearance changed until he no longer looked human. The transformed old man immediately charged at Master Flamespark. Master Flamespark retreated and prepared to use the white fan, but at the last moment he suddenly stopped. A respectful expression appeared on his face, and he put the fan away. At that moment, an ancient hand silently appeared in front of the charging red-robed old man. The hand's index finger casually pointed forward. The ancient cultivator seemed to have crashed into the finger himself. The finger landed directly between his eyebrows. His body trembled violently, and the finger pierced through his skull as easily as piercing a sheet of paper. The red-robed old man's head instantly exploded into a vast blood-red light that spread wildly in every direction. His entire body collapsed as well. An old man dressed in black then slowly walked out of the void. His expression remained calm, but a trace of melancholy appeared on his face as he looked at the dead ancient cultivator and said that he had not expected him to truly be hiding there. Master Flamespark immediately showed a respectful expression and greeted him as the Exalted One. The old man in black frowned and muttered that even such a huge disturbance had failed to make the person they were searching for appear. He wondered what that person's true objective was. Master Flamespark then brought up what had happened outside planet Suzaku, vaguely referring to the treasure and the words spoken at that time. He made it clear that he had not agreed with coming to this place. But because this person had ordered him to come, he had no ability to refuse. The old man in black fell silent and pondered for a long time. In the end, he shook his head and sighed, asking what Master Wuji was actually trying to accomplish. At the same moment, deep inside the enormous blood sea surrounding the stone pillar, Tuosen suddenly stood up. He looked toward the blood-red sky and revealed a ferocious smile. He declared that this time he would be able to kill enough people. With a mad laugh, Tuosen took a step forward and extended his right hand toward the sky. He violently tore the blood-red sky apart, creating an enormous rift across the blood sea. Through the opening, the void outside became visible, the very place where the majority of the cultivators had gathered. At the bottom of the blood sea, hundreds of cultivators who had been sitting there simultaneously opened their eyes. One after another, they rose into the air and flew upward. Tuosen's laughter caused the entire world to change color as the endless blood sea began to rage and roar. With his red hair flowing, he tore the crack in the sky open again, expanding it several times until it appeared to divide the entire sky in two. Under his command, the cultivators within the blood sea charged into the crack and entered the void. Tuosen reached his right hand backward, causing the endless blood sea to rise with a heaven-shaking roar and rush toward the crack. As it moved, the blood sea transformed into a massive ancient blood dragon over 100.000 feet long, which followed the ancient cultivators into the void. Tuosen had declared that he wanted the land of the ancient god to be filled with the fragrance of blood. And the slaughter immediately began. The ancient cultivators were all powerful, but Tuosen's seals were placed inside them, limiting their strength, because Tuosen possessed countless seals that had to be transferred among the cultivators. Several cultivators were often required to withstand a single seal. However, after more than 1.000 years, the seals had continuously weakened as Tuosen recovered faster, causing the seals on both his body and the ancient cultivators to weaken. As a result, these ancient cultivators were far stronger than when Wong Lin had first entered this place. The void became filled with red shadows as the ancient cultivators emerged from the blood sea like dragons leaving the ocean. Their eyes were filled with bloodthirst and absolute calmness, and according to Tuosen's order, they began slaughtering every cultivator they encountered regardless of which side they belonged to. The blood dragon made the bloodbath even more terrifying. Its enormous body covered the sky, and its overwhelming pressure made nearby cultivators tremble. Every movement caused blood light and sonic booms to fill the void. It did not even need to use spells. Its unimaginable speed alone killed every cultivator in its path. When the blood dragon encountered a group of Corpsect cultivators fighting a red-robed ancient cultivator, its enormous head crossed the horizon in an instant. Before the cultivators could react, the dragon head smashed into them with force comparable to a cultivation planet, causing their bodies to explode into flesh and then blood mist. Their origin souls could not escape and were mysteriously pulled into the blood dragon. The remaining cultivators were also overwhelmed by the dragon's bloodlight, and as its enormous body swept past, every cultivator in the area died. The entire massacre took only 3 breaths, with the sonic boom arriving only afterward. The blood dragon continued sweeping through the void, killing every cultivator it encountered and absorbing their origin souls. More than 1.000 cultivators had already died beneath it before it moved toward the inner region. Deep within the void, The 8 kings of the Corpsect were pursuing 4 ancient cultivators. The 8 kings, whose appearances differed in age but whose faces were all pale and cold like corpses, possessed tremendous power. They remained together and easily sealed and captured ancient cultivators along their path. The 4 ancient cultivators they were pursuing soon began twitching and slowing under their attacks. And one of the 8 kings prepared to collect them. At that moment, a blood-red light covered the void, causing the 8 kings to look up and see the enormous blood dragon approaching. Even they were shocked by its size. A purple-haired old man immediately ordered them to set up the 4th corpse formation. The 8 kings formed seals simultaneously, producing a tremendous cold energy that rapidly condensed into black ice. In an instant, the ice became a giant more than 1.000 feet tall. The 8 cultivators positioned themselves throughout its body, 1 in the abdomen, 1 in each arm, 2 in the legs, 1 in the chest, and 2 in the head as its eyes. Ghostly light appeared in the giant's eyes as it awakened, releasing an indescribably powerful force. The blood dragon then charged directly into the ice giant. The collision produced heaven-shaking rumbles that shocked all cultivators in the surrounding void. The ice giant opened its arms and caught the dragon's mouth, but the impact forced it back more than 10.000 feet. Cracks spread across its body, and the 2 cultivators controlling its arms coughed blood. Yet their expressions became even more ferocious. The giant stepped backward with its right leg, shedding large amounts of ice. But it stabilized and completely stopped the dragon's advance. The 8 cultivators simultaneously formed seals and roared, releasing powerful force through the ice giant. The giant grabbed the dragon's head and violently threw it aside. The blood dragon immediately roared and swung its tail into the ice giant, creating another thunderous collision and causing even more cracks to appear. It then swung its head and charged again at incredible speed, repeatedly smashing into the ice giant. More ice broke away, while the expressions of the 8 Corpsect kings became increasingly grim. The old man inside the abdomen suddenly released a ghostly light from his eyes and ordered them to set up the 3rd corpse formation. At that moment, another collision sent the ice giant flying backward like a broken kite. The blood dragon's head was badly damaged from the repeated collisions, showing that even it was struggling to withstand them. But its fierce eyes remained blood red as it charged once more, seemingly determined to destroy the ice giant. The ice giant then folded its arms and drew in its knees, transforming its entire body into a ball. The ice rapidly fused together, and in an instant the 4th corpse formation transformed into the 3rd corpse formation. Before the blood dragon now stood not an ice giant, but a huge sphere of ice covered with countless sharp edges that emitted a dark blue glow and appeared to contain a powerful poison. At the same time, Wong Lin moved through the void with a gloomy expression while 3 red-robed ancient cultivators pursued him with cold gazes. When the blood dragon charged forward, the ice ball controlled by the 8 kings of the Corpsect stopped retreating and rushed toward it. The 2 collided in an instant, producing a thunderous explosion. The ice ball shattered into 8 pieces, but the force released by the explosion struck the blood dragon's head. The dragon roared in pain and rapidly retreated as ghostly light spread over its blood-red body, producing crackling sounds and seemingly sealing it completely. The 8 pieces of dark ice melted and revealed the 8 kings. When the 7th piece melted, a crack appeared on the middle-aged man's forehead and quickly spread across his entire body until it collapsed. A figure formed from cold energy emerged and explained that the body could not withstand the previous attack. One of the other 7 opened a storage space and summoned a patterned purple coffin. The cold energy figure entered the coffin, and shortly afterward the lid was blasted open and a 7 or 8-year-old boy slowly sat up. After moving his body, the boy nodded to the other 7. The old man who had summoned the coffin decisively ordered them to chase the blood dragon, and all 8 immediately transformed into streaks of light and pursued it. Meanwhile, Wong Lin followed the blood ripple toward its source. But when he arrived, nothing remained except traces of terrifying fluctuations that showed a fierce battle had taken place. He quickly changed direction. Before he could move far, he suddenly sensed a strange vibration spreading endlessly through the void. Wong Lin recognized it clearly as the same kind of tremor that had occurred when Tuosen previously emerged from the Blood Sea. Although the vibration quickly disappeared, more than 100 terrifying auras suddenly appeared. Wong Lin's scalp went numb, and he immediately fled from the direction of those auras. At that moment, 3 red streaks emerged from the void, spotted Wong Lin, and pursued him. They were all ancient cultivators. 2 were at the early stage of Nirvana Cleanser, while the strongest was at the peak of Nirvana Cleanser, only 1 step away from Nirvana Shatterer. Wong Lin reached into the void, took out a yellow talisman, placed it on his chest, and was surrounded by a whirlwind before disappearing into the distance. He quickly widened the gap between himself and his pursuers. Wong Lin's expression became gloomy because he understood that many ancient cultivators had been released when the Blood Sea opened. Their cultivation levels were now vastly different from before, to the point of seeming unreasonable. But considering that this involved Tuo Senator Wang Lin could not understand the reason. As he flew, he thought that Tuosen should be coming out soon. His divine sense spread behind him, and he soon discovered that the ancient cultivators had used some unknown method to greatly increase their speed. Although he was still widening the distance, they continued pursuing him. Wang Lin realized that if he encountered more ancient cultivators ahead, he could be caught in a pincer attack. After scanning the surroundings with his divine sense, he suddenly stopped when he found a suitable location. He turned around, formed a seal with his hands, and coldness appeared in his eyes. Images of volcanoes appeared around him. He injected celestial origin energy into them, making them increasingly solid. But just as they were about to become completely solid, he waved his hand and caused all the volcanoes to disappear. Wong Lin decided that because the area was dangerous, he had to finish the battle as quickly as possible. The 3 red streaks soon approached, with the peak Nirvana Cleanser Old Man in the lead because he was the fastest. As the old man closed in, Wong Lin narrowed his eyes, stepped back, raised his right hand, and shouted, "Stop!" With that single word, law appeared in the world. Countless invisible threads seemed to emerge from nowhere and entangle the peak Nirvana Cleanser cultivator, causing him to pause. Because Wong Lin was only at the early stage of Nirvana Cleanser, he immediately suffered backlash from using the law, but he suppressed the injury and retreated. The peak Nirvana Cleanser cultivator paused, while the other 2 quickly approached. When they came within 1.000 feet, killing intent flashed in Wong Lin's eyes. He formed a seal and shouted, "Mountain!" 2 volcanoes suddenly appeared before the 2 charging cultivators, releasing a powerful aura. The 2 old men tried to retreat, but Wong Lin had already prepared his trap. Once they entered within 1.000 feet, they would be subjected to mountain crumbles. Wong Lin immediately retreated and shouted, "Crumble!" The 2 volcanoes erupted with rumbling sounds, releasing enormous amounts of lava and a destructive force into the void. Their explosions produced a powerful shockwave. Mountain crumble gave Wong Lin an absolute advantage against cultivators at his cultivation level, leaving the 2 old men in a miserable condition. Both coughed blood and attempted to retreat. Wong Lin's eyes filled with killing intent. He stepped forward, transformed into a streak of light, appeared before one of them, formed a sword with 2 fingers, and stabbed directly between the old man's eyebrows. Having already been seriously injured by mountain crumble, the old man's body trembled and exploded. Just before his body burst apart, he revealed a relieved smile. Wong Lin narrowed his eyes upon seeing it and stepped backward. He was about to deal with the other cultivator when a terrifying sense of danger suddenly enveloped him. He immediately abandoned the attack and retreated to the side. Just after he moved, a monstrous blood light swept through the void. It was the blood dragon that had been injured by the 8 kings of the Corpsect. A portion of its body had already been frozen in blue ice, creating a shocking sight, yet its speed had not decreased and was even faster than before. It swept past Wong Lin, and the fierce wind caused his body to tremble. A crack appeared on his chest, revealing that his stone avatar had been wounded. When Wong Lin raised his head, the blood dragon was already far away. The peak Nirvana Cleanser Old Man and the seriously injured early-stage Nirvana Cleanser cultivator had also disappeared without a trace. A chill spread through Wong Lin's body, leaving him shocked. However, after seeing the blue ice spreading across the blood dragon, he immediately flew away as quickly as possible. From the dragon's condition, Wong Lin cunningly deduced that it had been injured and was fleeing, meaning someone must be pursuing it. He did not want to unexpectedly encounter a cultivator capable of chasing the blood dragon. He had not retreated far when 8 streaks of light passed him and continued pursuing the dragon. One arrogant-looking middle-aged man glanced at Wong Lin in surprise but did not stop and disappeared with the other 7. Wong Lin's eyes lit up. He reached out with his right hand, took out the speed beast skin, placed it on his chest, and immediately accelerated forward. His speed reached its peak as he charged straight ahead. While he vaguely sensed that Tuosen was about to appear, the blood dragon continued moving rapidly and roaring. More than half of its body had already been frozen in blue ice, making it even more ferocious. It quickly reached the center of the void at its maximum speed. There, it coiled its body and began chanting in an ancient language. An ancient aura emerged around it, and the blood dragon suddenly released a heaven-shaking roar. As the roar echoed through the void, the power of time erupted from the dragon's mouth and spread across the entire void.